you can see here on your screen is a very high level depiction of what is actually taking place, starting over on the left-hand side with the extraction of petroleum products. Now, you might be thinking, what does petroleum have to do with our food supply? Well, unfortunately, the way that things are built, it has everything to do with food, because we have a system where companies go ahead and produce fertilizer. And with fertilizer, which are based on chemicals, that is how our whole system works. So if we were to remove that, then our agricultural system, certainly here in Europe, would be like a house of cards. So as you can see in this depiction, we go ahead and move from the extraction onto the manufacturing, and we create our fertilizer or pesticides following the elements. Let me go ahead and move over here if I can get my screen here. Yes, this element here is supposed to depict the Amazon rainforest. Now, what does an Amazon rainforest have to do with a food stream? Unfortunately, everything, because we keep thinking we need to go ahead and take more land away from nature so that we can go ahead and feed the people who are not getting enough to eat. And so with that, we keep perpetrating this problem. You might have heard of it. It's called a pandemic. It all comes because people are living together with wild animals. And so by going into the rainforest, this kind of causes the problem. So we all go ahead and meet in the barn. So the forest, let's go ahead and talk about greenery, is cut down so we can go ahead and make agriculture out of it. We have, of course, our pesticides and our fertilizer all coming to the farm, and then we have our farmer. As Clemens was talking about earlier, what does the farmer have to do with a data center? Well, interestingly enough, the farmer has everything to do with a data center because they're all fighting over the same resource. Yes, it's called water, because everybody needs water. The data center needs water, and so does the farmer to go ahead and grow his crops. So that's where all of this is coming together in an ecosystem. Let me briefly go through the rest of the elements that you see here on your screen. So the produce is actually grown and taken to a depot, which is to be found here, eventually to our retailer, and this is a very high level description, to our consumer. And then of course at the end, the food ends up somewhere else. Usually, if we look at the current statistics, and this will look different depending upon which country you're living in, that up to 40% of all of the food waste is actually taking place at the home. Unfortunately, depending upon where you live, most of that's ending up in landfill, which means that we are creating methane, which is much worse than CO2, but it's the one that we don't really talk about it too much. Very possibly, we might go ahead and burn the food, or if we're lucky, we'll go ahead and put it together as compost. And very often, it will just be flushed down the toilet.